Welcome to the Master Passive Income Show. My name is Dustin Heiner, and I'm here to help you get financial independence, quit that job, that just over broke job, by investing in real estate so you never ever have to work a job again. And today, I am super pumped to bring on a fantastic guest who's going to share with us how we can explode our businesses by working with other people, networking, and building relationships to have a bigger impact, helping and serving more people and exploding our business. All right, let's start the show.
Welcome to the Master Passive Income Podcast, where we talk about investing in real estate with a special focus on making enough money so you can quit your job and live the dream life. And now, here's your host, Dustin Heiner.
Hey, what is up? Super pumped to have you here on the show, and actually very blessed to have you here, a part of the show. This is episode 298. My goodness, we're almost at 300 episodes now, and I love that I've been hearing from lots of people on Instagram that they've just literally listened from the very first episode, and either they binge them all or they've been listening for this long. But you listening to my show, I super appreciate it. And if you want to reach out to me on Instagram, you absolutely can. The Dustin Heiner, you can do that. Now, I am actually in New Orleans right now. In last week's episode, I told you how I was going to FinCon, the Financial Content Creators Conference. Super, absolutely amazing. And now I'm sitting here in our Airbnb for the Wealth Builders Mastermind. And I kid you not, like, this place is so amazing, but it's huge that when I record without a sheet or a bedspread over my head, it echoes. Here, I'm going to take this off. So I put a sheet over my head. Now I'm going to take it off. Now you can hear what the audio sounds like. It just sounds like echoey. And I'm even in my room, let alone inside the main but the main living room that's gargantuan. Anyways, I'm going to put the sheet back on so it might sound a little better. So there we go. Okay, so we're here at the Wealth Builders Mastermind. We've got 14 of us, and we're all masterminding together. It's all about growth. It's all about helping each other to become better people in the end. It's absolutely amazing that we can see each other and for 3 days and really dig into each other's lives. I did this with my own personal mastermind about a month and a half ago. We went to St. Louis to where RubeCon's going to be, the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, and we got together and masterminded and planned and goal set it. And like, let's say 10 years out, where do we want to be in our businesses and our lives? It is super amazing. When you get into a community of people, let's say with a conference, a large community of people, and then you get in a smaller setting, what's much more intimate, that's where magic happens. And now switching gears a little bit to get into real estate investing, it is actually pretty amazing that something happened recently. The interest rates for overall real estate market, when you buy a property, residential, conventional loan, it's at 8% now. 8% mortgage loans. It hasn't been like that since 2000, I believe. Right around 2000, 8% is what you're going to cost to borrow money to buy a house. Now, if you look at how much it costs to buy a house, let's say you're buying a house for $400,000. Well, if you, instead of getting 3%, now had 8% loan, you are actually spending $1,000 more than you did just 2 or 3 years ago when you could get that 3%. So if you think about the prices of homes right now are still really high. The reason why they went up so high is because interest rates are so low, 2.5%, 3%. So people said, well, shoot, I can buy a $500,000 house in the desert that's 3-bedroom, 2-bath and spend that much money and be okay with it, because they were only spending $1,600, $1,800 a month on mortgage. Well, now that $400,000 house is now $2,800 in order to get that loan. So you're seeing in the market now, the real estate market, prices of homes kind of stagnating, which means they're not dropping very much for a little while, but now they are starting to drop. And homeowners are now starting to lower the prices of the homes. It's definitely not a seller's market anymore. It's absolutely a buyer's market. Now, you might be thinking, well, Dustin, man, prices are still crazy high. And yes, you're absolutely right, and I completely agree with you. But there are amazing deals out there. Now, here's the thing that you need to do when you're going to be buying a property for passive income. Even with 8% interest rates, you need to have the price lower. You need to get that price lower when you're buying it. Now, you also might be thinking, well, sellers aren't coming down on the price. They will, and especially the ones that need it, the motivated sellers, they absolutely will. So be patient, but also be diligent and persistent. keep putting in offers. And here at the Wealth Builders Mastermind Summit, we have a gentleman. He's a student, one-on-one coaching student with Charles. His name is Pranith, and I'm actually going to be interviewing him. He should be, and he was taught by Charles to just keep putting in offers. And offer after offer, he started putting him in. First one finally came. He got that. And like I've always told you, the second property usually comes within a month, at most 2 months. Well, he now has 3 properties, or 3 deals. I think it's 1 property and 1 duplex. And he's doing amazing because when you build the business, you will absolutely be able to grow. Well, let's jump into today's show where we're going to be talking about how you can grow your business, expand your network. And they say, and I love this saying, your net worth is your net work. Like how many people that know you, not that you know, because you might know them, but if they don't know you and they won't do anything for you, that doesn't matter. I want you to build your network, and that's why I have RubeCon. That's why I have the Wealth Builders Mastermind Summit and the Wealth Builders Mastermind, where you can join that as well. Check the links in the description to get a part of that. I'm literally here with 14 people in an Airbnb for 3 days, masterminding, helping everybody to invest and to be better investors and better people overall. But let's jump into today's show where I bring on my good friend and expert mastermind facilitator and overall amazing investor and fantastic guy, Michael Kwan, as we share with you how we have exploded our businesses by networking, going to conferences, and joining masterminds. All right, here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Master Passive Income Show. I'm super pumped to have my good friend Michael Kwan on the show with me, and we are literally at a conference right now, and this conference is absolutely amazing. It's called the Financial Creator Content Conference, FinCon for short, and it is such an amazing place that brings together just amazing people. And Michael and I wanted to come on to share with you how amazing it is to go to places where like-minded people are. And if you're not doing that, my goodness, you're missing out. I know that my business, Master Passive Income, the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, and we have the Wealth Builders Mastermind, these probably would not be anywhere near. In fact, RubeCon probably wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for FinCon. Same thing with the Real Estate Wealth Builders Mastermind that we have. So it's just amazing when you get around other people. Michael Kwan, thanks for coming on the show, man.
My pleasure. You're absolutely right, Dustin. FinCon is actually where we met. And it's so funny that I think back just a few years ago of how far we've come. And like you said, the level of our businesses now would not be where they are today. And more importantly, at least for me, the business is important, but building wealth in all aspects of life has been phenomenal. And I think that's what I really take away from this. I always get to these conferences and I just feel richer just being in the presence of people that are great entrepreneurs, givers like yourself, and being able to just, I think, absorb this positive energy and momentum going forward, trying to create impact for other people.
Yeah. So we met in 2018. I started going in 2017. And boy, it was so funny. I used to go to conferences for my work, and I work for the government. And these government conferences were horrible. I was not cut from the same government cloth of being just putting in your 8 hours and then not caring. I'm a business owner. I love working. I love building businesses. And so I came to FinCon and I had the same perspective. I didn't even know what networking could be like. I didn't want to talk to anybody. So I went to a session, sat down, talked to one person next to me, and that changed my life because I realized I had it all wrong. It's about people. Life is about people. Life's not about a property. It's about people. Life's not about a product. It's about people. Business is not just about selling things. It's about people. Real estate's about people. And so when I realized that if you focus on people, networking, working together, helping each other out, everything gets better in all of our lives. Michael, so we're here at FinCon. We met in 2018. And from that point forward, started masterminding together. We have 2 other guys with us. And it's such an amazing 5 years now of constantly helping each other grow, which is super amazing. But from that, also creating more businesses that help each other. What do you think about when you go to an event where you're looking at, man, I want to build my business, but I also want to network. I want to hopefully help other people. And what do you get out of going to conferences that get you around like-minded people?
Yeah, great question, Dustin. And I think one of the great things about us is that we have this very cool dynamic. You're the ultimate extrovert, right? I represent the introverts. And what I want to speak to you guys, the introverts out there, is that a lot of times we might get into a specific situation where we feel like maybe we don't want to put ourselves into that position because it's uncomfortable, because we get in our heads, But I'll tell you that when you step outside of your comfort zone, that's where the growth happens. And when I met you, we didn't talk about business at first. We were talking about hunting and fishing and like totally random things, right? And then it just happened that we started then talking about business after that, and we clicked and we had the synergy. And none of this would have happened if I didn't put myself in this place of uncomfortability, right? And for you as well, right? You naturally thrive in an environment where you're getting filled up by all these conversations with people and whatnot. And then I also introduced you into a world of more, I think, individualized, I would say, conversations with
More
in-depth mastermind. Yeah.
mastermind type.
So masterminding in the sense of, fewer people, but more directed conversations. And so I think there's a great balance that you can find when you find the right mastermind, the right people at the conference. And then when you find that, you want to hold on to that and then just be able to grow. It's been amazing just to see this grow over time.
100%. Absolutely. And so with going to a conference, meeting people, and then here's a big tip I'll give everybody. When you meet somebody at a conference that is somebody you need to connect with, you want to make sure that you get their information. Don't rely on them to contact you. It's your job to connect with them and continue that conversation going. This conference has just been amazing. Like this is my 7th year now. And it's just every year it gets better and better for me because it's a reunion. You see all your old friends, you make new, really good friends, make new, better and business acquaintances, and help both businesses. Tell me about how you actually serve, because what I do is I try to lead by value. Let me give you a quick anecdote story. So recently at this conference, there was a lady that was very pushy, very forward, literally interrupted into my meeting with another business and said, "Oh, can I come in here?" And she sat down and started literally just talking about herself, saying, "Oh, I have 115,000 followers on TikTok," and all about me in the middle of my conversation with this brand. And I was like, what in the world? You're literally bogarting our entire time. So she doesn't understand that if you lead by serving or lead by giving, that's the way to get people to want to work with you. And I learned that very quickly. I'm blessed to have learned that. And what happens, what I do, and a big tip or a big way that anybody can do this is
And I want to pause for a quick second and share that honestly, I really want you to invest in real estate. Now, my new goal is to help 1 million people invest in real estate. So 2 things I would ask from you. Number 1, if you get anything out of this episode, please share it with somebody else. Just say, hey, check out Dustin and Master Passive Income. He really wants to help 1 million people to invest in real estate. That's number 1. Number 2, I want to get you to invest in real estate. Get my real estate investing course absolutely for free. Text the word rental, RENTAL to 33777. Rental to 33777. I'll literally give you my course, show you how to find an area of the country to invest, how to build the business first. I always talk about that, and how to find the right properties, how to make sure you're getting experts to do the work for you, and scale the business to where you're making $250 or more in passive income. Scale it to quit your job. I'll literally get to you, or go to masterpassiveincome.com/free course. Obviously, it'll be in the description, but I really, really want you to invest in real estate, because the more that actual normal everyday people own real estate that are good landlords, the better everybody's life gets.
try to figure out how to serve them by giving them a contact that might help them. Because I know by asking them questions, you were just mentioning, getting deeper into deeper conversations and getting to know the person as well as what their business is, then maybe you can help them. And a specific example, I was sitting next to a gentleman who has a good podcast. I'd love to go on his podcast and reach new people. And I didn't even ask him, hey, can I be on your podcast? I was talking to him, got information about him and everything that he did, and found out his interests. I said, you know what? Let me connect you with this person. He's literally doing the exact same thing. He can help you in your business. One, that's me delivering value. And then another person, I said, you know what? There's a great person that you should have on your show. He's a fantastic real estate investor. He's my friend, so I'll give him a shout out. Seth Williams or RE Tipster. I said, you need to have him on your show. So I'm like trying to deliver value rather than talk about me. And then literally like maybe 30 seconds later, a minute later, he goes, man, I need to have you on my show. I'm like, I'd love to be on your show. How much better? Now it's his idea to have me on, obviously, but I'm just trying to lead with value. How do you do that in your conversations when you're networking and working with people?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dustin. And I love what you do is you go out there and you're a connector, right? You bring those valuable relationships together. I get a ton out of just hanging out with Dustin, right? I go to these conferences and Dustin's, oh, you made this, Michael's like doing this and that, and you guys should talk, right? And I think for me, the way that I deliver value, especially like in our mastermind, is I'm very curious about what you're doing, how you're serving, and how I can support. And so I'll ask very thought-provoking questions. I'm a pretty good listener, I think, overall, and I'll give those questions back that get you thinking, right? And I think there's value in that, right? But also, I'm looking to serve and figure out, what resources have I used that have helped me to level up my businesses in the past that you can use? I like to play with technology all the time, right? So I'm always showing you the latest tech gadgets and the AI and all the things that you can do to be more efficient. So it's really about essentially just being a friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes down to. It's the relationships.
Yep.
And I think that's a piece that I didn't quite understand for a while, was that I thought when you go to a conference, it's all transactional and it's, let me do this for you, so you do this for me. No, right? It's about giving first and just be like, hey, this is something really cool that might work for you given your business is doing this. And I think if you come from that perspective and leading from the heart, then you just naturally create a friendship and you go forward.
And you never know what that friendship can bring. Like you and I, we met in 2018. We just started with getting to know each other. And you can help somebody when you get to know them. That's the biggest thing, is if you don't know anything about it, you can't help them. And then they in turn don't really know anything about you. So if you engage in that, then you can hopefully build this business, but like the bridge to helping further things. And obviously you and I started the Wealth Builders Mastermind because of everything we've done. And I saw a good fit for us. In fact, you know this, but I don't partner with anybody. Like my wife is my partner with all my businesses. And then when you and I were talking about how we can help more people, I realized that our skill sets are terrific combined together. And a big thing, we're both blessed to not worry about money. Like this business, of course it makes money, but it's the business of serving people. And what's great is you and I, our partnership, if it's going to be the friendship or the business, I'm going to give up the business. That's the only time I enter partnerships, but it's worked out so well because like for the mastermind, I'm like the fly paper, you're the glue. So the fly paper attracts everything. That's what I do. You're the glue that keeps everybody there, but everybody grows from that. Now, if you go to just any conference, it's not going to be the best. Like when you go to a conference that has nothing to do with where they want to do, you're not around like-minded people and you can't really collaborate because you're just not in the same fit. Like the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, if you're a real estate investor of any asset class, I try to build the conference so that we can literally have like-minded people of all asset classes. Now, what are your thoughts about having or being around like-minded people, being able to get more connections and really help each other grow?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for the younger listeners, when you're going out there, sometimes you don't know exactly what's going to resonate. When I was just trying to figure it out, FinCon was something brand new for me. It was outside of my comfort zone. And I tried different conferences. It wasn't just FinCon. I tried a few different ones to see what would match with my values at the time and match my growth. And so now there's just a few that I go to, right? I go to RubeCon, of course. We do our own private mastermind summit retreat that we're going to be doing here on in. I go to some Tony Robbins personal development conferences and FinCon, and that's pretty much it. Occasionally I'll try something new just to have that variety, just to see if there's something else. But I think when you're young, trying a lot of different things, seeing what resonates with you and see if the community vibes with you. Because if you find that, great. And if not, that's okay as well. I think you keep trying until you find that group because there's so much value when you find your tribe.
I started finding more conferences to go to, and eventually like one would be good, but not something I want to continue. But the other ones would be like, man, this is great. So definitely finding the tribe or the people that are like-minded around you that are doing the same thing that also you get along with. And so what's great is because I love connecting people and meeting people, I have now, like you're sitting. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're looking at our Airbnb. And so we have this and we have, it's 9 other guys. Yes. Oh yeah. You can see, I mean, it's huge. It's a great place. All of us come together, 9 other guys. We all come together and we're literally up until 1, 2, 3 in the morning, masterminding, talking together, but debriefing from the conference from that day, meeting a lot of people. And then we come back together because we're friends. We hang out together, we party together, we eat together, all that sort of stuff. But we're so ingrained in helping each other, but having that community event. And so with this, we also have the idea of we have large group, lots and lots of people. And so hopefully you get their business card, you take their picture, whatever, like you remember who they are. And then you can then translate that into now something where you are actually doing in-depth, deeper conversations. And also another thing I love about conferences is you get around experts, people who are like levels above you. In fact, when I created the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, my goal was to bring my friends like you, Seth Williams, and lots of other real estate investors who literally, Seth's business is fantastic, your business is fantastic, and we're experts. Why not share it with everybody else? And that's what the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference was all about. And so bringing together like-minded audiences, all of our audiences together, but then investors together. But you're being exposed to things that other people are doing. And what's so great. So the experts are awesome. So the breakout sessions are really good, but then also just the networking afterwards. You stick around in their breakout session, wait till they get off the stage and say, oh, can I talk to you? And hopefully make a connection. So how about you in your businesses and working with or going to conferences and then hopefully being able to work with experts? What are some tricks or some tips that you have for people?
Yeah. I think when I go to conferences, I try to keep an open mind, but at the same time, I'm setting an intention. So whether it's going to get specific content, whether there's something I'm trying to figure out how to do or trying to figure out who can help me with something, then I think having that intention up front is great. However, one of the things that I like to, let's say, is live lucky. And so we have very interesting strategies of how we go about getting our outcomes. Dustin's great at just going out and getting what he wants.
No, I have to bust down the door. Like I'm banging on it. I'm going through the window. I find every way, if it is to get lucky, meaning getting a business opportunity, getting a connection, whatever it might be, I bulldoze through that. Michael has a different strategy. So
my strategy,
the way that he does it, and it's brilliant. I like his way personally better. I wish I could do that, but it just doesn't work for me. But this is Michael.
Yeah. So my strategy is more of I'll set the intention and then I'll go and I'll see what kind of just flows. And for example, this time I'm looking to do a lot more public speaking. And so I started telling people I'm a public speaker. And within the first literally 3 conversations that I had became ultimately opportunities to potentially speak, full on crazy opportunities that I would never had. And
this is at the conference.
This is at the conference. So I think just setting your intention, putting it out there is super important. And then on top of that, like you said, seeing how you can serve and seeing how you can help someone else first. And then it automatically just comes back to you in folds, like 5-fold, 10-fold, whatever it is. And the great thing about FinCon, after we got together and we started our own private mastermind, is that I will tell you guys, I felt a little bit, maybe not as much, right? You get in your head and you're like, oh man, Dustin's got a book already. He's got this podcast, and Tom, he's got this like book and a podcast, and Adam, he's got a book and a podcast. They're doing all these crazy things. And I discounted some of the things that I did, right? I built $1 million business, multi-million-dollar business, sold it off, and all those things, but you get in your own head. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that there's always something that you bring to the table. So never discount that and make sure that you bring it to conferences and or masterminds. And the great thing about the masterminds is people like Dustin, Tom, and Adam will remind you of all the great things that you have to give as well. And so when you come into that, it just makes everything better. And so I like to say the best thing about a mastermind is you don't have to push yourself to your goals. You get pulled to your goals just because you're around great people that give you the support and the ability to step into your own greatness.
And it shows you what's possible. Like if you get around peers that have done something that you can follow in their path, 100%. Same thing with the experts. They show you that it's possible. And hopefully you get around genuine experts, not the gurus that are like, look at me, I'm driving this fancy Lamborghini. Now, you might gravitate towards those type of people. I just don't. I never did. I'm like, Lamborghini, my goodness, I wouldn't want to have that on my brain. If somebody scratches it, it's a Lamborghini. That's just me. But other people like that. But what I'm saying is when you figure out if you could be around the right people that help you to grow, like all of us in our personal mastermind, there's 4 of us. We're all at a high level, but we also have a lot of capability and possibilities for the future, and we all help each other. And so what we see each other doing, oh, I can do that too. Or, hey, I see you should do this. I remember when you started your podcast, the Breakthrough Millionaire podcast, you're like, I'm thinking about doing this. Yes, Michael, you must do this. This is absolutely something, and we'll be there for you every single step of the way. So when you have for me, the conference, getting around like-minded people, getting around experts, finding new resources, like we have sponsors that we work with that, hey, these are good services, just go ahead and start using them. We're putting them in front of you. That then transitions into having a very in-depth personal communication and relationship with a core group of people. And so that's why we created our mastermind personally. But here was funny. And we had so many people at RubeCon asking us, hey, can I join your mastermind? Like your private mastermind with 3 other guys. I'm like, it would be great if we could, but we don't have time for us, let alone anybody else that we can add. And so Michael and I, back in 2018, it was so fun. We started masterminding, and Michael, I think it was you or maybe me, one of the two, but the idea came up, hey, we could actually help more people if we started a mastermind where we could add people in and then curate that and help that and make sure that they grow. Fast forward now, we started RubeCon, people asking us, can we join yours? No, we don't have anything like that. 2023, we said, there's something here. Here's a business opportunity, number one, but here's a way to serve people. So we created the Wealth Builders Mastermind, where we now have people join our mastermind, where you and I facilitate and help them. We take part in, they're in our lives. They have our connections. They have all of us, but we're able to create that opportunity. Now, going from the large group, which helps us to find connections, and then taking those connections and building them deeper. Talk to me about how do you see the process from now when you have a group of close-knit connections, you're starting a mastermind. Like I said, I'm the fly paper, you're the glue. How do we make sure it sticks together?
Yeah. A mastermind is really about bringing the value of that small knit group together and creating this balance, this ecosystem of just that community, that dynamic that we've created together in our private one. We're now creating that by facilitating. Because what happens, I think a lot of times, I think you as well, we've been in multiple private masterminds beforehand, right? But it takes a while to find the right one. Now, there is a way to shortcut that, and that is to go to a paid mastermind. And I've done that multiple times in the past when I was running my business. And when you're willing to, I think, put that extra investment in, then you can take that shortcut. Now, it's not to say that you have to do it that way. There's other times when you could do it on your own and you can create that benefit but for the people that are ready to get in the right room with the right people, that's what we're bringing. That's the value that we're providing, is putting you in the room with people of like mind, like drive,
but then also the same caliber too.
Yes,
they're
absolutely.
They're willing to put money towards it, because if you want to figure out what you really are passionate about or do, you look at your checkbook. Where does your money go to? It shows where you put your value in. And with that, when you have skin in the game,
yes,
you're actually going to show up. You're actually going to get the work done because you're putting that much value that you're putting money towards it. Now, not everybody can actually find themselves. We were blessed through FinCon, the conference, just like RubeCon. Masterminds are starting through RubeCon, their own, which is fantastic. We want them to do that. They find each other and then they blossom out of that. Now, we are currently in our Airbnb, and we're going to be having the Wealth Builders Summit. And that's our retreat. It's a 3-day retreat, digging into goals and blossoming into future. This is a time where you get on a huge mountaintop. You see the vision of where you want to go. And then we also talk about how we can actively implement that. But this is a time to really dig deep. How do we do a summit? Meaning, how do we grow from this? And how do we make sure that we're taking every bit of opportunity to grow with other people?
Yeah, the cool thing about the summit and the reason why it's unique is that it's not just about tactics and strategy. That's going to happen outside during the conversations with the experts that are there, with the relationships that you'll develop. But the content that we're bringing to this, like you said, is taking the time. Listeners, think about it. When was the last time you actually spent time on your vision, or even asked yourself what true wealth means? Think about that for a second. Just let that sit in. What does it mean to be wealthy? Are you wealthy right now? Are you wealthy when you hit $1 million? Are you wealthy when you get 5 million, 10 million, 100 million? I think Dustin and I, because we've had the blessing of not having to worry about the money and reaching that financial independence, we had to ask better questions. Once you get to a certain point, you're like, am I really still wealthy if I just have the money? And fast forward, I think you guys know intellectually, right? No, because wealth encompasses so many different things. It encompasses health. If you have $1 billion and your health isn't there, does it matter?
Not at all.
Absolutely. Relationships. If your relationships are in shambles and you have $1 billion, does it matter?
Nope.
Absolutely. So what we're doing at the summit is actually taking a holistic approach to wealth building and letting us dig into what's important to our values, and then building that vehicle, using real estate to enhance that overall wealth. And people don't do that. And so that's why this is a unique experience. We definitely invite you guys to come join us for the next one. We sold out this one like in an instant, and I was just like blown away. I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. And I got to imagine, obviously we're going to be going into this, but just to come back and just get the feedback from people, I think people are going to be happily surprised.
Absolutely. And with that, it's the life transformation. You go to a conference, you get transformed. You definitely get changed. You get contacts, you get understanding, you get education. You're around experts. And so that's huge change. And then you get even deeper with something like a summit. And with that summit, what happens is you really focus on yourself and changing internally. And you're right. Wealth is not just money. That's why I like wealth builders. We build wealth, not just riches, not just money. There's lots of money conferences and stuff, but no, we want to have wealth, and wealth more so than just money. Because once at the end of the day, you can't take it with you. There's never been a U-Haul with a hearse. So a hearse driving and the U-Haul right behind it, because it's not going with you. And what we want to do is want to build overall wealth for our entire lives, from, like you said, health to relationships, time, and even in service. And so with the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference and Mastermind, we are also serving other people. We're having a foundation, or basically we're trying to do a charitable giving on top of investing, on top of learning how to invest. Now, as we are learning about how we can actually grow, give me a little tip on how do we make sure we make the right goals for ourselves, and then how do we go about attaining those?
Yeah. And that's where I think sometimes people get a little mixed up, because sometimes people think that you're after the money first. And that's why I think it's important sometimes to pause, get very clear on what your values are, and even understand what's driving you in the first place. Why is it that you do what you do? Why is it that you actually want the outcomes that you want? And when you figure that out and then you say, okay, this is what I actually want, that's the time to go back, reverse engineer it, use SMART goals to basically get you there. We like to talk about in the Tony Robbins environment, the science of achievement, right? It's a very specific way that you go about getting things, right? By knowing your outcome first, then taking massive action, taking a look at the results that you're getting, and then tweaking it until you get the exact outcome that you want. That's a very specific pathway that's specific. And then the other side of that is the art of fulfillment. Fulfillment for some person is going to be very different for someone else. And so that's why we call it the art, because how do you find yourself fulfilled? And so for me, what fulfills me is growing. What fulfills me is being able to contribute. And I think when you get into understanding what those values look like, your life is going to change, because what you're focused on, wherever your focus goes, that's where the energy flows. And so I think it's important, Dustin, for people to take a pause, figure that out, and then just go like full force. And what you find is that I think there's this like great balance of growing to like where you're comfortable, but at the same time creating impact. And then I believe that's the way you provide your talents to this world. And for those of you out there that the Bible says, do not take those talents and just leave them on the wayside, right? Your duty is to use those talents in this world in order to serve others. And when you do that, I believe God blesses you 10 times over as well, because you're making use of those in the service of others.
Absolutely right. And we know Christ, he says that he came to serve, not to be served. And if we can look at that as his entire life he served. And if we can do that, how many more people can we bless and reach? I've found the more people that I serve, the better my life gets, the better their lives get, and other people. Like when I buy a house that is not good and I fix it up and I make it into a good place and I give it to a tenant to rent it out and not charge them up the highest top dollar, but I give decent rent that's going to be market. Maybe I personally like it's a little lower because I love to have them stay in there and also bless the family as well. But in the end, you're serving them with a good place. Same thing with coaching people how to invest, or having people come to the conference and networking, meeting these experts, 50 plus experts at RootCon, meeting them so that they can up-level their game. It's so much better when you're looking at serving first, and then you get so much in return. So I love that we have the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference. I love that we have the Wealth Builders Mastermind. It's such a fantastic flow from one to the other, because you get like lots of connections and lots of people that you work with in the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, but then you also get a curated group of individuals to get so much deeper and even hold each other accountable to go to the next level, to make sure that you're growing. Now, as we come to a close, is there anything else that we missed about masterminding or big conferences that we can use so that we can up-level our game?
Yeah. The fun thing I just want to say is just remember to take some time to focus on flirting with uncomfortability, because when you go out there and you grow, I think that's where the magic happens. It's like surfing that line of like uncomfortability so that you can grow in service of others. I believe that's where the magic happens. So for some of you, that could literally mean just going up and having a conversation. For me, to be honest, going up and having a conversation with someone, sometimes that could be like really like terrifying. But whatever it is for you, right? The more you do it, the easier it becomes. I can remember before I had my podcast and I'd be terrified to get in front of this microphone. I'd be like, my palms would start sweating and I'd be like, what am I going to say? Do I need to script this out? And the cool thing is that the more you do something, and I was very uncomfortable, okay, right? I think Dustin's a little bit more naturally inclined to do this naturally, but you can figure out anything, right?
You can figure it out.
And don't let introversion, for the introverts listening, don't let that be an excuse for not doing so-called extroverted things. Introversion and extroversion, I think, is misconstrued, because introversion just means how you recharge. Yeah. Extroversion is also how you recharge with people.
I recharge around people.
Exactly. And introversion is but it doesn't mean to be shy.
Totally.
Those are not mutually exclusive, right? So again, what I want to say is that get outside of your comfort zone and do something different. And I think you'll just be amazed at some of the magic that happens. And so, for example, if you guys want to join the Wealth Builders Mastermind, definitely check it out at https://wbmm.org and see what we're all about. I think it's a wonderful way to, again, get in like-minded, driven, value-purposed individuals that can help you take it to the next level by pulling you to your goals instead of pushing yourself. You're absolutely welcome to do that. And
it's a fast track.
It is a fast track.
When you go to a conference, you get around the experts, you get around other like-minded people, you see what they're doing, you see what's possible, and they also help you skip over the problems that they did. Like, I've lost thousands of, maybe tens of twenties of thirties thousands of dollars doing real estate wrong, but now I coach my students how to do it right. I save them so much money. Like, they don't even though I save the money that they see me save them. Oh, Dustin, in fact, our most recent coaching call, a student was negotiating with a seller, and they were asking like $80,000. He talked him down to $78,000. And he said, should I just take their offer? They offered countered at 78. And on the coaching call, I literally said, no, I never accept somebody's offer. They have to accept mine. So I would always counter. So I told him I would suggest to counter at 72,000. And he literally on the call sent a text to the seller. Okay, here's my counter, $72,000. And he went from 80,000 to 78. And then the guy replied back $76,000, and then replied, eventually got to, I think he saved like $2,000 on the entire transaction in 10 seconds or 10 minutes, but it was on the call. So I saved him $2,000 just by negotiating. It's a penny saved, a penny earned. But with that, all the money that I saved them by not doing the things wrong, they don't see those things, but then they see how much money they make. It's called fast tracking. So everything from the Wealth Bros Mastermind to RubeCon, the Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, to Master Passive Income, everything is a way to help you fast track your success, fast track to wealth. Van Michael, this is so great. I'm super pumped. We're just going to be entering into our summit tonight. The summit starts. We have 12 other amazing real estate investors coming in tonight, and then we're going to be spending 3 days together. It's going to be so awesome. Michael, I'm super pumped. I'm so glad we have this business together. We can help so many more people.
It's been my absolute pleasure, Dustin. And we're so excited to just share this with you guys. Go out there, take some action, and remember that you guys have a duty to share those talents with this world and never let anyone tell you otherwise.
And that is it for today. Go ahead and get my free real estate investing course. Text the word rental to 33777. RENTAL to 33777. You can also join my Real Estate Wealth Builders group coaching, get all my courses. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next show. See ya.